Good morning, and welcome to First Universalist Church, where we have a recorder quintet, or quadret really, wow, incredible. Welcome to First Universalist Church, where we are called to nurture the spirit and to serve the community. I am Reverend Lane-Mairead Campbell. I am the settled minister here, and I use they, them pronouns. It is a joy to be in worship with you all this morning. Leading worship with me today, we have Bridget Watts, using she, her pronouns, who's our worship associate. We'll be hearing from Trish Gallagher and also Kitty Forbush on behalf of our stewardship campaign, using she, her pronouns. Our music director, Dr. Brock Chesvold, is out for the day. So we have quite the array of music for you all this morning. Not only our no-hell players, Charlie Kortzel will be accompanying our hymns this morning using he, him pronouns, and we'll hear from Gordon Perth. Welcome back, Gordon, this morning, who will play a piece from Keith Stott. So exciting to get to celebrate his 94th birthday this morning. We have Jack Cunningham offering our tech support using he, him pronouns, and also Lisa Gwinner and Karen Labraco joining us online for our online ministry team. I'm still not used to this camera. I'm still looking over here to sort of gesture to our online folks because there used to be a camera here. If you're here for the first or the second or the third time this morning, we especially welcome you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for making your way to this worshiping space, to this community. We are so glad you are here. There is a visitor's form that can be found by scanning the QR code in your order of service or by clicking the link online in the chat. Please, please, please fill out that form so we can offer you a welcome beyond what we can offer here. We are going to take a moment to turn and greet our neighbors, both online and here in person, but first, let us take a moment to connect our two communities. So if you are here in the building at First Universalist, I'll invite you to sort of turn towards this back corner here where our camera is now to offer a wave and a greeting to our folks who are joining us online. We are so glad you are here with us this morning. So grateful you are here. If you're online, please pop into the chat and offer a greeting. If you're here at First Universalist, please turn to your neighbor and offer a greeting this morning. Oh no, Kelly. Sorry, whatever is on my All right. Well, let us join in singing. If folks would like to rise in body or in spirit, we're going to sing hymn number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life. Please join us in singing. Please be seated.
I recently heard a clip of Michelle Obama talking about her experience being the tall girl. The girl who wore unfashionable homemade clothing because store-bought clothes didn't fit. The girl who stuck out in the back row of every group photo, who was other. I flash back to my days as the tallest person of any gender in my junior high school, walking the halls in my clunky old lady shoes because cute shoes didn't come in my size, wishing I could sink into the earth and disappear. Sometimes we can hide the part of ourselves that might cause us to be treated as other or less than. We can decide it isn't a safe time to reveal that we're, say, gay or Jewish or have a certain disability. But it hurts to feel that we have to hide a part of ourselves, and hiding isn't always possible. When Michelle Obama enters into mostly white spaces, she can't decide, well, I'm just too tired to deal with anybody's racist nonsense today, so I'm just not going to let them know I'm Black. The one choice we do always have is whether or not to make our values visible. When people say hateful words about some other group that they assume we don't belong to, what do? As a white person, when another white person makes a racist remark in my presence, I can stay silent and blend in, or I can speak up and disagree. And sometimes it's scary to reveal ourselves like that. It often feels rude or awkward, and I don't always rise to the occasion. But I want to do better. I want to side with love. There's a song I like to dance and sing along to in the dining room when I'm feeling low. The chorus goes, I'm not too short, I'm not too tall. I'm not too thin, I'm not too fat. I'm not too this, I'm not too that. Ooh, don't let me start loving myself. Let's start loving ourselves and speaking our values out loud in the world. In the name of the love that makes us one, come, let us worship together. As Michael Scott lights our chalice at First Universalist Church, and you light a chalice in your own homes, will you join me in saying our affirmation of faith? I'm sorry, our chalice lighting words. Got ahead of myself. Our chalice lighting words in unison. May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community.
I have to put this down because I'm very short. I'm Kitty Forbush, and I am co-chair of this year's stewardship campaign, Draw the Circle Wide. And I just wanted to encourage everyone to sign up for a stewardship circle. There will be a sign-up sheet in the lounge at Mocha, and there is one offered today in the Chalice Room at noon that Grant Fish and I will be hosting and facilitating. So please come and share what First Universalist means to you and why you pledge, or if you want to know more about pledging. We welcome you to come to our stewardship circle. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Trish Gallagher, who's going to give her testimonial as to why she pledges and what First Universalist means to her.
Good morning. I am an eternal optimist, and this beautiful church is a sanctuary for me, a refreshing refuge from the world of conflicts and uncertainty, a place to find friends and to raise kids. I need this church, the connections, the hope, and the love it radiates. 33 years ago, I first walked through these doors. My dear friend Donnie Anderson had told me about this unique denomination off and on for years, but it took having a baby to entice me to visit. At the very least, I would get free babysitting for an hour. What I found was a perfect fit for my sense of what a church should be. My minister dad raised me to believe a church was not a building, but the community of its members. What a fine community I found here. The glorious building is the icing on the cake. The warm and wonderful Beth Banks was a minister then, and Lane-Mairead reminds me so much of her. and even their hairstyles are similar. It's true. The childcare providers were Heather Jones and Newcomb Losh. No one could ask for better than that. The music director was talented, and though we change music directors often, like Brock, they always are remarkable and usually Eastman students. We are so lucky. The religious education director back in 1990 was extraordinary, much like Michelle Yates today. This community attracts good people over and over again. We may be small, but we have quality and resilience. I love that the UU principles are in essence the common denominators of good people everywhere. The principles build bridges. They call us to social action. They make us think. They remind us constantly of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. They led this church to go through the process to officially become a UU welcoming congregation for any LGBTQU plus person. Of course we are welcoming. That's who we are. The principles also led us to a deeper understanding of racism and to alter the building to be handicap accessible. Indeed, social justice is a key driving force here. The principles teach respect for the environment and all creatures and emphasize the interconnectedness of life in virtually everything. They helped me become a Prius-driving vegan. And the denomination heartily approves of us believing in whatever we actually think about the existence of God. We're not wrong or damned for our beliefs, nor are the Muslims or Jews or Buddhists or Christians. How sensible, how downright refreshing compared to my hellfire and brimstone upbringing. As a UU, I can now welcome the sincere prayers of my devout Christian siblings instead of taking offense at their repeated prayers for my soul. Did any of you see the brilliant South Park episode about who gets into heaven? It seemed to have been written as an advertisement for Unitarian Universalism. In the cartoon setting, a bunch of good people from various religions, including world figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Princess Di, are bobbing around with the flames of hell. The new souls in hell were confused, and one asked, "So who gets into heaven?" Before introducing the devil, the welcoming hell director at the podium authoritatively announced, "I'm afraid it is the Mormons. Mormons is the correct answer." I laughed out loud. What a simple expose of the fundamental problem with all this world's exclusive religions, each of which believes it and only it is right. Long live Unitarian Universalism, where questioning truly is the answer, where we admit we don't know about God and heaven, but we think. We may find out when we die, as my boyfriend says, or like I say, we may not find out. Meanwhile, we'll hear some great sermons and beautiful music, have some fantastic discussions, create many superb friendships, raise kids the best we can, and carry on, trying to do good in the world, supported by like-minded people. Please join me in generously supporting this wonderful church. Thank you.
Thanks, Trish. And now, would you please rise in body or spirit and join in saying our affirmation of faith and our doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus we covenant with each other and with all. There will be an offering to support the work and life of this church. One of the reasons I give to First Universalist is gratitude. I am grateful for the massive amounts of love, skill, care, and time, lots and lots of time, that our volunteers give to this community I want them and our dedicated staff to have the resources that we need to carry out our dreams and fulfill our mission to nurture the spirit and serve the community. You are invited to give online by scanning the QR code in your pews or to drop an offering in the offering basket. For folks online, please click the link in the chat to give to First Universalist Church. Thank you for your generosity.
Beautiful. This morning, our story is a story by Kyle Lukoff, illustrated by Kaylani Juanita, called When Aiden Became a Brother. And I'll just share with you all that Reverend Michelle handpicked this story for us this morning with this community in mind. When Aiden was born, everyone thought he was a girl. His parents gave him a pretty name. His room looked like a girl's room, and he wore clothes that other girls liked wearing. But as Aiden got bigger, he hated the sound of his name. He felt like his room belonged to someone else, and he always ripped or stained his clothes accidentally on purpose. Everyone thought he was just a different kind of girl. Some girls had rooms full of science experiments and bug collections. Lots of girls didn't wear dresses. But Aiden didn't feel like any kind of girl. He was really another kind of boy. It was hard to tell his parents what he knew about himself, but it was even harder not to. It took everyone some time to adjust, and they learned a lot from other families with transgender kids like him. Aiden explored different ways of being a boy. He tried out lots of names until one stuck. They changed his bedroom into a place where he belonged. He also took much better care of his new clothes. Then, one day, Mom and Dad had something to tell him. "I'm going to have a baby," Mom announced. "A baby?" Aiden said. "Does that mean I get to be a big brother?" "Of course," said Dad, ruffling his hair. Aiden thought that being a big brother was an important job for a boy like him. He wanted to make sure this baby would feel understood right away. The baby needed clothes, so Aiden and his mom went shopping. There were so many choices. Would the baby like seahorses or penguins better? "Are you having a boy or a girl?" asked a lady. Aiden didn't like it when people asked if he was a boy or a girl, and he hoped the baby couldn't hear yet. He was glad when his mom just smiled and said, "I'm having a baby." The baby's room needed to be painted, so Aiden and his dad went to the hardware store. Dad chose a gallon of sky blue paint, and Aiden added a puffy cloud white. "Are you excited for your new brother or sister?" asked the paint guy. "I'm excited to be a big brother," Aiden said. The paint guy looked confused. Aiden could tell that he wanted to ask a different question and was glad to have his dad there. "The big rollers were fun to paint with. This room feels just like being outside," Aiden exclaimed. He had always felt trapped in his bedroom before they fixed it, but his new sibling wouldn't have to feel that way. "You're right," said Dad. "Let's make some shapes in the clouds." Every baby needs a name. Aiden loved getting to choose his own, but remembered that it had been hard for his parents to let go of the name they gave him. He looked for names that could fit this new person, no matter who they grew up to be. Babies need someone to read to them, so Aiden practiced and practiced and practiced. Dad wanted to teach Aiden how to change diapers. Maybe later," said Aiden. He decided that picking flowers for his mom was much more important. 2 weeks before the baby's due date, Aiden started to worry. Maybe he should have picked different clothes. The blue walls may be too bright. He wished he could ask the baby which name they liked best. Mom came to tuck him in. "Are you feeling okay, sweetie?" she asked. Aiden put his hand over where he thought the baby's ears would be. "Do you think the baby will be happy with everything?" he whispered. "I don't want them to feel like I did when I was little, but what if I get everything wrong? What if I don't know how to be a good big brother?" Mom hugged him tight. "When you were born, we didn't know you were going to be our son. We made some mistakes, but you helped us fix them. And you taught us how important it is to love someone for exactly who they are. This baby is so lucky to have you, and so are we." The next morning, Aiden found the boxes of his old baby pictures. He looked so different back then. It hadn't been easy, but he liked the boy he was growing into. Maybe everything wouldn't be perfect for this baby. Maybe he would have to fix mistakes he didn't even know he was making. And maybe that was okay. Aiden knew how to love someone, and that was the most important part of being a brother. The end. A reminder this morning that love is always at the center. Dear ones, I want to invite you into this reverent time of sharing the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. If you would like to, thank you, Bridget, if you would like to, you can place a hand over your heart from wherever you are to be able to listen from this heart-centered place, whether you're joining us online or joining us here in the sanctuary. We are connected right here by the love that we share and the love that we feel for one another. As Bridget places stones into a bowl, I will read aloud the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. If you're joining us online, please feel free to type them into the chat so we can hear from you. This morning, we share a joy on behalf of Keith Stott, who turns 94 this week. We will hear one of his musical pieces during the service and are just wishing Keith a happy, happy 94th. We share a joy this morning from Connie Volk, who wanted to give a shout out today to the Hilton superintendent, hopefully I'm going to say his last name right, Casey Kosiorek, after he stood strong when the bomb scares closed the schools. It is speculated that recent challenges to books such as "This Book is Gay" may have caught the attention of outside provocateurs. He apologized Friday to LGBTQ+ students for having to feel unwelcome and defended the importance of having such books in the school library. We share a joy from Michael and Kelly Scott. We caught the guy who has been stealing our Black Lives Matter yard signs for 2 years. After a long, long search. Oh, a joy this morning for Trish Gallagher. I just attended the wedding of a first cousin once removed to her girlfriend. My first gay wedding. Yay! We're celebrating queer joy this morning. We share a sorrow also from Johanna Connolly, who has been very, very sick this past week, and just ask you to hold her in your thoughts. I'm sure cards and calls would be welcome from Johanna. We'll drop one stone into the bowl to represent all of the joys shared by our online community. We'll drop one stone into the bowl to represent all of the sorrows shared by our online community. And let us drop one final stone into this bowl to represent all of the joys and the sorrows held in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love this morning. I want to invite you now to get comfortable in your seats. Sit back wherever you are. Allow the pew, the chair, the couch to hold your weight. Allow your shoulders to just roll down from your ears. And take a moment to close your eyes, soften your gaze. And let us just take a deep breath together as we center our hearts this morning in prayer and meditation. Spirit, deepest love, for moments of noticing, for awakenings big and small, for the moments when our vision becomes clear. Let us give thanks. For the ways we are asked to grow, for the expanding we have leaned into, for the times when we met the challenge and answered the call. Let us give thanks. For the hope found in the face of another, for companions along this journey, for the hearts and the minds and the spirits and the bodies we join with. Let us give thanks. For the moments when we make a mistake, for the people who love us anyway, for forgiveness, both asked for, offered, and received. Let us give thanks. For the sweet moments of joy, for the celebrations and the good stuff, for times when we are too full up to even realize how good the moment is. Let us give thanks. For this and for so much more, we allow our hearts to fill with gratitude this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Blessed be and may it be so. As we enter into a time of shared silence together, let us contemplate and meditate on all that we have to be grateful for this morning. Our hymn of contemplation this morning is hymn number 1030, Filled with Loving Kindness, a meditation out of the Buddhist tradition. So I'm going to invite us into this sung portion of our meditation to really begin with ourselves. Take a moment to just center yourself here in your own heart, to be grounded in your own body, in your spirit. Allow yourself to feel that love and that gratitude that surrounds you as we sing, "May I be filled with loving kindness." May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. Let's turn our hearts now to someone we care about, someone who is on our minds and hearts this morning, someone who we hold deep love for. Could be a family member, a friend, someone significant to you. Bring their face into your mind's eye. Bring their person into your awareness. And let us sing to them, "May you be filled with love." May you be filled with turn our heart's attention towards someone we are holding concern for this morning, someone about whom we are worried. It could be someone in our life who is struggling, someone who we know is sick or ill, someone who is holding a deep and great burden, someone who may be struggling with addiction. Let us bring their face into our minds and heart's eye. Let us bring them into our awareness. And let us sing to them, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Now let us bring someone into our minds and heart's eye with whom we have been in conflict. It could be someone that you are in conflict in your family with. It could be someone from your workplace or someone in your vicinity, someone with whom you are in conflict, someone whom it is hard to love, maybe even hard to forgive. I'll invite you to bring their face and their person into your mind's eye. And let us sing to them as well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Now we expand our awareness to those here with us in this room, to those here online. We expand our awareness through the wires of the internet, to all of those in this community. We expand our hearts to our broader community, to our city of Rochester, to our greater Rochester area. We expand our hearts to our state of New York, holding in loving care our country, holding in loving care our world, our earth, all of its creatures and inhabitants, all human beings, all those who deserve to be peaceful and at ease. And let us sing, may we be filled with loving kindness. May we be filled with loving kindness. It happened to me the other day while hanging with some friends and their kids. My mind was spinning, and I was a bit distracted. I wasn't paying attention. It was snack time, one of the most important times of the day, I'm learning. And all of a sudden, one of the kids I was caring for had taken their applesauce pouch, this little plastic pouch with a spout on it that I had just handed to her not a moment before, and squirted it into her hair. At first, I couldn't see quite what had happened, but she let me know there was a mess on the back of her chair. And as I looked around, lo and behold, her curls were full of applesauce. Nothing like kids to bring us back to the earth and to the present moment. What I had not been seeing nor paying attention to became visible. And once it became visible, I had to deal with it. So off to the sink with a towel we went. You know those days when you are really distracted? Something's on your mind. Maybe a worry or something you are excited about, or even something that happened to you that's just not sitting well with you. You can be anywhere, at work or at home or in your car or with friends, and the distraction sets in, and suddenly you are transported to an entirely different place, not quite in the room anymore. Probably none of you experience this ever, right? No, not here, not in this community, but it happens to me every now and again. And when it does, I'm often surprised by what I find when I am called back to the present moment. I find that this kind of distraction keeps me from listening or from seeing what is in front of me, from being present to my surroundings. Visibility, being seen, is a complicated and beautiful thing. Without the visibility of my little friend's hair issue, I would have never been able to help her. She would have just walked around the rest of the day without a care in the world. She is 2 years old after all. In order to do something about the issues before us, we must first be able to see and to know what they are. The process of visibility can come in an instant, with hair all of a sudden full of applesauce, and it can also be a process that happens slowly over time. Visibility helps us to grow and expand our awareness. Visibility helps people get access to support and the help that they need to addressing issues affecting their lives. Through the visibility of people outside of ourselves, we learn about the vastness of human experience, and we learn how to care for those beyond ourselves. This week, this upcoming weekend, we will celebrate on Friday Transgender Day of Visibility. This is the Sunday closest to it beforehand, and we as a congregation have been celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility, at least ever since I've been here for the last 5 years. We celebrate the gift of getting to know other people fully and of getting to know ourselves. We celebrate today and this week and most every day, really, the lineage of those trans ancestors who came before this time, paving the way for more and more people to be visible. As Laverne Cox reminds us, it is revolutionary for any trans person to choose to be seen and visible in a world that tells us we should not exist. I'm going to say it again. It is revolutionary for any trans person to choose to be seen and visible in a world that tells us we should not exist. We celebrate today the people in our lives, who have chosen to be visibly gender nonconforming, and how those people have invited us to expand our awareness and learn new things. We celebrate those around us who have chosen to reveal who they are to us. And we honor that gift with gratitude, a listening presence, and a healthy dose of cheering folks on. You go, especially right now. We honor the gift of the visibility of trans and gender nonconforming people by claiming our own visibility as a religious community that is welcoming and inclusive. This is not a simple task, but we have undertaken it well, and we are still learning. This church has participated in the Pride Parade for decades. We have been a place that has been openly welcoming of LGBTQ+ people, and we show up to events and celebration that mark this commitment. And I think this time is asking us to move into a new way of being visible. I think this time is asking us to live our values just a little more out loud. It is worth exploring what keeps us from noticing or seeing things. In my story with my little friend during snack time, I was distracted by other things. In our story this morning during our service of Aiden becoming a brother, he is noticing things about how this child will come into the world that I would not have been aware of at his tender young age. There are so many things that keep us from seeing what is right in front of us: busyness, exhaustion, a lack of awareness, the company we keep. The list could go on and on and on. A friend of mine this past week was talking with me about the ways he seeks to categorize people easily when he sees them at first. When people do not fit into the boxes he has in his mind for how they should look or act or whatever, he feels uncomfortable. It is possible that these expectations, these boxes that we hold on to, these expected meanings was the word he was using, that we hold on to, can also keep us from noticing what was not visible before. As anyone who has come out of the closet or even discovered a new thing about themselves that they would like to share with others can tell you, visibility is an ongoing process. We become visible through continual practice and intention. It happens gradually over a span of time. Conversations here and there, a shift in what you are wearing or how you're expressing yourself, new relationships bring new opportunities to yet again make ourselves visible. And there are days when visibility is instant. It's just right there in front of you. To share the experience of being trans comes with some weighing out of whether or not making ourselves visible is safe. It also involves assessing whether or not others are willing to truly see us, to honor who we are. What we make visible to others and to ourselves, what we make known, is a choice. And I want to say here that there are many things that are visible that are not a choice, like Bridget pointed out earlier in our service, like racial identity, height, different pieces about our appearance. And when it is a choice, though, to become visible, it is a choice with low stakes at times, like the common everyday occurrences I'm referring to now. But it can also be a choice with high stakes, with risks and fears. To make visible our political stance and our justice commitments is risky. To make oneself visible as a trans person can be a huge gift in the support you receive and in the community you can access, not to mention the gift of living an authentic life, but the risks are great too. Risks of rejection, risks of unwanted negative attention and discrimination, risks to safety. I would say that likewise, our process of being a welcoming and inclusive church for trans and gender nonconforming people continues. We began in the 1990s by becoming a welcoming congregation and going through a process of intentionally welcoming LGBTQIA2 Spirit+ people. Visibility back then, in the 1990s, was so different than it is today, which may be a huge understatement this morning, right? We did not have so many people being visible about their gender identities or their sexual orientations. I mean, in the 1990s, we saw some of our first gay people on television that we knew about. This is not to say that trans and gender non-conforming people were not here, but to say that times have changed. Visibility looks different now. We have so many more people who are living out as themselves. Representation in the media has grown. Being transgender doesn't mean we have to lose our entire lives anymore. In my case, it doesn't mean that I can no longer serve as your minister. And I know I have been preaching a bunch about transgender identity lately. I know that this has been happening, and I need you to know this morning that this is not simply self-indulgence or solely because this is something I am passionate about, but I do this because I believe that the relevancy of our faith, of Unitarian Universalism, relies on all of us in this room and beyond caring about issues that affect those who might not be like you. I preach about these issues for the many people who are living in fear in our country and across the world, for whom Unitarian Universalism might be a great home for spiritual nourishment and theological reflection, for connection and community. I do this because we need more religious communities that welcome transgender and gender non-conforming folks, because the list of those of us who are welcoming is much shorter than the list of religious communities who choose to exclude. Right now, our city, our country, and our world are in need of more communities being visibly in support of trans and gender non-conforming people. The narrative across the land is that some people oppose transgender identity and even trans people existing out of their own religious commitments, utilizing sacred texts to justify their positions. And it has me wondering this morning, what are the religious and theological commitments that call us here in this room to be visibly in support of transgender and gender non-conforming people? And what kind of visibility do these commitments call us towards? What kinds of visibility do these religious and theological commitments call us towards? Take a moment right now and just pause with me. Take a moment. I want to just invite you to consider a question. What are some of the central values that you hold as a Unitarian Universalist? What are some central values that you hold as a Unitarian Universalist? If today is your first time in Unitarian Universalist space, what central values brought you here? Take a moment to just ponder that in your hearts and allow a little list to develop. And out of those values, take one moment to allow one to rise to the top. Could be a word or a phrase. And as I am sometimes wont to do, I'm going to invite you to share them with us. For folks online, please type yours into the chat. For folks in person, what are some of these guiding values? What are they? Love, truth, equity, fairness, inclusiveness, interconnectedness, welcome, responsibility, integrity, compassion. Anything in the chat from our online folks? Awareness. And the worth and dignity of every person. Empathy. So, because we value empathy, we are called to be a visible presence, welcoming people of all gender expressions. Because we value love, we are called to be a visible presence, welcoming people of all gender expressions. Because we value interconnectedness, we are called to be a visible presence, welcoming people of all gender expressions. Because we value responsibility, we are called to be a visible presence, welcoming people of all gender expressions. Because we value integrity, we are called to be a visible presence, welcoming people of all gender expressions. And that visibility can look like a bunch of things. It can look like continuing to be a presence in the Pride Parade. Not to worry, we'll be there. You could never stop us from going. And it can look like placing gender pronouns in the signature of your email. It can look like this community showing up when Drag Queen Story Hour is under attack, or when someone has been hurt or even killed because they are trans. It can especially look like the conversations you are having in your families and in the communities you find yourself in your workplaces, in your friendship circles. Being visible doesn't just have to look like a big, loud protest in the streets. Being visible is correcting your cisgender family members when they get someone's pronoun wrong. It can be a conversation with colleagues about something transphobic they said. It could be taking a family member who recently came out to a cup of coffee for a supportive conversation. I know there are ways you all are being visibly allied with transgender and gender non-conforming people. I know there are ways people in this room are working to be sure more people can live visibly, can feel safe being who they are. May we continue to build this world we dream about together, informed by love, by empathy, by interconnectedness, by all of the values that we hold, by our commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every person. May we continue working towards a world where all gender expressions are respected and valued. May we honor those amongst us who have chosen to be visible. May we honor those gifts. And may we continue to make space for trans and gender non-conforming people in a world and a country where people are calling for our eradication. Let us be companions on this journey together, answering the call of our shared values of this faith. In gratitude, let us continue to learn together. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. Let us join in a sung expression of our values, of the oneness that we hold as a community. As we join in singing hymn number 318, We Would Be One. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing.
Let's tell each other.
Dear ones, please remain standing as we share our chalice extinguishing words together, both on the screen and in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. I'll invite you to place a hand over your heart wherever you are and just take a look around the room. If you're joining us online, please turn your view to gallery view so you can see who's here. If you're here in person, please just take a moment to look around this room. Look at who your companions are on this journey. Look at who you are here with. Look at who is next to you, to whom you are responsible, with whom you are in community. Dear ones, as we go forward from this space, may we be shored up by the shared values we have here. May we honor the gifts of visibility. And may we seek to continue to create a world where more and more and more folks can be visible and valued and honored for exactly who they are. And let us do so out of knowing that we ourselves are loved, just as we are in this very moment. And may we go and be that love to whomever we meet. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so.